Legends always talk about serpents big enough to swallow a person whole. Mythical monsters from our darkest nightmares. Creatures of impossible size, lurking in the shadows of lost worlds. But what if the legends were, well, kind of true? What if there was a real snake that was so big, it didn't just eat people, it ate crocodiles for breakfast? The story of this real-life monster wasn't found in some ancient, dusty book, but buried deep inside a Colombian coal mine. Our story kicks off in a pretty unexpected place. The Sirajan coal mine in northern Colombia. It's one of the largest open-pit mines on the planet. For years, miners were digging up tons of coal, the leftovers of a long-dead forest. But every now and then, they'd find these weird, petrified objects. For a long time, one especially large fossil was just sitting in a company display case, labeled as a petrified branch. It was a neat curiosity, but that's about it. That all changed in the early 2000s, when a team of scientists from the Smithsonian and the University of Florida started digging around the mine. They were hunting for clues about the world 60 million years ago, right after the dinosaurs checked out. When paleontologists Jonathan Block and Carlos Jaramillo were shown some of the fossils being pulled from the earth, they knew they'd hit the jackpot. They found massive vertebra bones, so big, everyone just assumed they belonged to ancient crocodiles. But when they took a closer look, the truth was way more shocking. The shape, the structure, these weren't from a croc. They belonged to a snake. A snake of a size that science had never even dreamed was possible. Turns out, many of the strange fossils from the mine, once dismissed or misidentified, were pieces of a prehistoric puzzle. This wasn't just some new species. It was a monster that would completely rewrite our understanding of the prehistoric world. So how do you get from a few bones to a creature that's ridiculously huge? It all comes down to the simple math of biology. Snakes grow by making their vertebrae bigger, not by adding more of them. So, by comparing the fossilized bones to those of today's biggest snakes, like the green anaconda, the scientists could basically reverse engineer a monster. And the numbers they got were just staggering. They estimated the snake was between 42 and 49 feet long. That's longer than a T-Rex. It would have weighed over a ton, tipping the scales at around 2,500 pounds, as much as a small car. This thing wasn't just a snake, it was a titan. So in 2009, they gave it a name that fit. Titanoboa sarajonensis, the Titanic boa from Sarajevo, and this wasn't some one-off freak of nature. The Sarajevo mine didn't just give up one fossil. To date, paleontologists have found the remains of 28 of these colossal snakes. For a while, it was considered the undisputed king of all snakes. Recently, though, another giant snake called Vasuki indicus was discovered in India, giving Titanoboa a run for its money for the title of largest snake ever. So while it might have a rival now, it's still one of the biggest serpents our planet has ever seen. A creature this big needs a serious appetite. So back to our main question. Did it really eat crocodiles? The answer is a fascinating yes, but it's complicated. The world Titanoboa lived in, 60 million years ago, was a swampy buffet of giant reptiles. There were massive turtles with shells 5 feet wide, and several types of dinosaurs and ancient relatives of crocodiles. Some of these crocodilians grew up to 20 feet long. For a smaller 7-foot croc species that also lived there, a hungry Titanoboa would have been a constant lethal threat. Since modern anacondas are known to prey on caimans, it's very likely Titanoboa did the same with the smaller crocs it shared the water with. But a rare Titanoboa skull found in 2012 threw a little twist into the story. Its teeth and jaw seemed better suited for a diet of fish, not for wrestling huge land animals. This suggests Titanoboa was probably a master of the water, like an anaconda today, where its enormous weight was supported. Its main course was likely the massive, prehistoric fish that also swam in those rivers. So, while the image of Titanoboa wrestling a 20-foot croc might be a stretch, it was without a doubt the king of its jungle. It competed with crocodiles for food, and when the opportunity came up, it probably wasn't shy about turning a competitor into a meal. To really get Titanoboa, you have to picture its home. The fossils at Sarajevo didn't just reveal a monster snake. It gave us a snapshot of the oldest known rainforest in the Americas. About 58 to 60 million years ago, this part of Colombia was a huge, swampy coastal plain, and it was hot and wet. Hotter and wetter than anything we know today. The landscape was a tangled mess of rivers and swamps, surrounded by dense jungle. Fossilized leaves and pollen tell us this ancient forest was filled with the early ancestors of plants like palms, legumes, and even the first relatives of chocolate and banana trees. This was technically the dawn of the age of mammals, but here in the tropics, giant reptiles were still the undisputed rulers. Imagine a murky river where a giant turtle with a shell wider than a person is tall is sunbathing, or by ancient crocodilians are lurking, their eyes just above the water. And somewhere in the depths, the true ruler of this kingdom is moving, silently a predator so immense that the water itself seems to bend around it. This wasn't just a lost world. It was a world of giants, and Titanoboa was the biggest of them all. But Titanoboa's story is more than just a cool monster tale. It's a critical clue for understanding our planet's climate history. Snakes are cold-blooded or ectothermic. Their body temperature and their metabolism are controlled by the temperature of their environment. A snake can only get as big as its climate will allow. For a reptile to reach the absolutely bonkers size of Titanoboa, its world had to have been incredibly warm. When the discovery was first made, scientists used the snake's size to estimate that its environment must have had an average annual temperature between 86 and 93 degrees Fahrenheit. That's way hotter than modern tropical rainforests. More recent research suggests it might have been slightly cooler, closer to P-88 degrees Fahrenheit, but either way, it was a much warmer greenhouse Earth. This makes Titanoboa more than just a giant snake. It's a kind of prehistoric thermometer, giving us a real sense of Earth's climate 60 million years ago. Its very existence is a key piece of data for scientists studying our climate today. From a mythical beast to a scientific marvel, the story of Titanoboa is a journey into a lost world that feels stranger than fiction. It's a snake longer than a T-Rex that ruled the oldest known rainforest in the Americas, battled crocodiles, and became a living thermometer for an ancient, hotter planet. It's an amazing reminder that our world's history is full of wonders we're only just beginning to find. The discovery of Titanoboa really makes you wonder, what other monsters are still out there waiting to be found? If you want to join us on more journeys to uncover these incredible prehistoric secrets, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. Let us know in the comments, what ancient beast should we investigate next? Thanks for watching.